during a meeting with the president of the Council for Assassination Nyasingbe. I'll find you going to assassinate.
UN Assistant Secretary General Jan Keita, who also serves as Executive Director of the United Nations Population Fund, met with the President of the Council to review the partnership between UNFPA and Togo. Their discussions highlighted the country's sustained efforts to advance youth education. Mrs. Keita also used the occasion to commend the President of the Council for the seamless organization of the ongoing 9th Pan-African Congress in Lomé. The meeting reaffirmed the shared determination of Togo and UNFPA to work together in promoting the rights and well-being of all segments of the population.
Togo's 2026 state budget has been set at more than 2.7 trillion CFA francs, an increase of about 14.8% over 2025. The bill was approved yesterday by a large majority in Parliament in a session presided over by Professor Komi Salam Klasu, Speaker of the National Assembly. Kwesi Glay reports.
The draft 2026 finance bill under review has been adjusted to 2,751.54 trillion CFA francs, up from the initial 2,740.5 trillion, representing an increase of 11,039 billion CFA francs. According to the committee, this revision was requested by the government after receiving additional resources from a development partner, prompting an early adjustment of the 2026 budget. Presided over by the Speaker of the National Assembly, the general debate opened before moving into the detailed review, during which MPs raised questions and provided clarifications. The bill was then adopted by a large majority, giving the government the green light to implement its projects and programs for the well-being of the population.
Merci.
By adopting the 2026 finance bill, you provide the government with a key instrument to implement national policy, one we are now mandated to define together under the new constitution. The adopted text reflects the macroeconomic stability of Togo's economy despite a challenging regional and international context, an achievement welcomed by the Assembly.
En adoptant ce budget,
This budget confirms our collective commitment to development and social progress. It mirrors the ambition outlined by the President of the Council for Assassination Nyasingbe in building a resilient, inclusive, and prosperous Togo.
apaisé et équilibré.
With the support of reforms under the Togo 2025 government roadmap, the national economy continues to show strong resilience with projected growth above 6% over 2024-2026 and inflation maintained at 3% in line with YMO standards. The finance law also integrates economic, social, and environmental priorities while preparing future investments in key sectors. The first budget of the Fifth Republic, marked by its inclusive and social focus, will now be transmitted to the Senate for further review in the coming days.
It is the second week of its regular session in Abuja, Nigeria, and the ECOWAS Parliament continues its work with interparliamentary organizations. Under the leadership of Honorable Speaker Hajia Memunatu Ibrahima, parliamentarians adopted a resolution addressing the crisis in Guinea-Bissau, while women parliamentarians elected a new executive board.
As the second week of the Parliament's second ordinary session began, the ECOWAS Parliament issued a strong statement on the situation in Benin. Speaking through its president, Hajia Memunatu Ibrahima, the regional institution firmly condemned the attempted destabilization in the Republic of Benin and commended the bravery of the Beninese authorities who successfully thwarted the coup attempt. Through this declaration, the Community Parliament reaffirmed its full support and fraternal solidarity with the people of Benin, its legitimate institutions, and its government. The Parliament's unwavering zero-tolerance policy toward unconstitutional changes of government also shaped plenary discussions on Guinea-Bissau. Members adopted a draft resolution outlining several key points and delivering a clear message. For West Africa, the only legitimate path forward is democracy through dialogue and the ballot box. In a separate session, members of the ECOWAS Women's Parliamentary Association elected their new executive bureau, emphasizing consensus throughout the process. The 9-member leadership team will be chaired by Ivorian Senator Chantal Fani Musukura for a 2-year term. For the new president, this election symbolizes a strong spirit of political sisterhood committed to advancing sub-regional integration. Speaker of the ECOWAS Parliament, Haja Memunatu Ibrahima, also took part in the proceedings, reminding participants that beyond the procedural exercise, the goal is to choose leaders who will guide the association's activities over the next 2 years, represent the voice of its members, and champion their shared objectives.
How does the world really see Africa? Well, the descriptions are often far from flattering, and it is for that matter that on the 3rd day of the 9th Pan-African Congress going on here in Lomé, leaders and experts debated on how Africa is perceived in today's world, exploring the challenges and opportunities for promoting a positive African narrative. Kwesi Glay tells us more in this report.
Faible coordination entre les États.
In the current global order, Africa is too often misrepresented, portrayed through the lens of conflict, famine, disasters, poverty, war, governance failures, and political instability. A continent reduced to its problems. At the 9th Pan-African Congress, many voices are calling for Africans to reclaim control of their narrative and reshape the way the continent is perceived. The aim of this panel is to clear away the distortions surrounding Africa's image and bridge the gap between external perceptions and the reality on the ground. For Africans, the task is to dismantle stereotypes and reintroduce an authentic representation of the continent on the world stage. The Lomé gathering provided no shortage of forward-thinking ideas. According to some panelists, we must be intentional and we must do it ourselves. For others, the world will see Africa differently when Africans tell their story differently. In this vision, the African diaspora and Afro-descendant communities are expected to serve as key ambassadors of the continent, working alongside national leaders to promote a renewed, accurate, and confident image of Africa.
And moving on to other stories, this memorandum marks a new milestone in digital and media governance in Togo. On Wednesday, the Personal Data Protection Authority and the High Authority for Audiovisual and Communication signed a mutual commitment document to regulate media practices and the management of data on digital platforms. The agreement aims to ensure a responsible use of digital technologies while protecting citizens' personal information. Our Shugan has more in the following report.
The signing of this agreement fills an existing gap by strengthening the mechanisms already in place, thanks to joint efforts between two key institutions, the High Authority of Audiovisual and Communication and the Personal Data Protection Authority. In a context marked by rising disinformation and the growing misuse of personal data, this partnership lays the foundation for modern, effective regulation. The cooperation framework between the two bodies covers the protection of fundamental rights, institutional complementarity, capacity building, awareness raising and advocacy, as well as monitoring and evaluation. It encompasses all aspects necessary for regulating the media and the digital environment for the benefit of the Togolese population. Beyond legal provisions, this partnership represents a moral commitment. It will involve supporting media professionals, raising public awareness, and anticipating potential risk in a digital landscape that is rapidly transforming daily practices.
After 4 years of transformative work in Togo's maritime and savannah regions, Handicap International wraps up its mental health and psychosocial support project. In Lomé, yesterday, the organization presented a report highlighting significant achievements that have positively impacted countless beneficiaries. Kwesi Glay tells us more.
More than 27,000 people sensitized, over 2,400 beneficiaries supported through psychosocial services, and more than 200 stakeholders trained in mental health approaches. These figures reflected the effort made by Handicap International and its partners under the Mental Health and Psychosocial Support Project implemented between 2022 and 2025.
Après 4 années, aujourd'hui, nous pouvons retenir que
After 4 hours, we can say that our work with the Ministry of Health made it possible to develop the 2024-2027 Mental Health Strategic Plan. We also helped strengthen the skills of mental health professionals through targeted training, while awareness campaigns contributed to reducing stigma around mental illness. The main challenge now is securing the resources needed to fully implement the action plan that has been defined.
le plan d'action qui a été défini.
For greater clarity, Handicap International reviewed the project's key achievements and lessons learned with a single objective: ensuring the continuity of psychosocial support through the strengthened skills of local actors and communities.
Ce qui est beaucoup marquant.
What marked me most is that with the support of Handicap International, I received funding to start a carpentry business.
Pour la menuiserie.
The project has thus contributed to sustainably improving the mental well-being of the population. Handicap International reaffirmed its commitment to ensuring inclusive and accessible mental health care in Togo.
And as part of the 77th International Human Rights Day on December 10, the Ministry of Justice and Human Rights organized a panel discussion with students from the IFAD ENR building in Lomé. The meeting provided an opportunity to analyze and assess the government's commitments and efforts in implementing economic, social, and cultural rights. Kwesi Glay has more.
At IFAD Batima ENR in Lomé, students attentively followed the presentation delivered by the Minister of Justice on economic, social, and cultural rights. The discussion focused on the progress achieved by the country in various areas related to these rights. For the students, the session provided an opportunity to better understand the issues surrounding economic, social, and cultural rights. The implementation of these rights remains a top priority for the government, which is committed to ensuring the full well-being of the population as a foundation for lasting peace.
Ces droits constituent une composante essentielle des droits de l'homme,
These
incluant le
rights
droit
form
à
an
l'éducation,
essential
à la
component
santé,
of human
au travail,
rights, including
à
the
un environnement
rights
sain, au
to
logement,
education, health, work, a healthy environment, housing, and an adequate standard of living. Protecting human rights also requires fair and accessible justice. His Excellency Forest Asunanya Singbe, President of the Council of the Republic of Togo, has stated that a justice system that functions well is one that inspires confidence. It is indispensable for investment, entrepreneurship, and the economic development of our country.
Et au développement économique de notre pays.
This youth-focused conference concludes with recommendations aimed at strengthening the implementation of economic, social, and cultural rights in Togo.
That brings us to the end of today's edition. Thanks to my wonderful team and to you, cherished viewers, for watching. Stay tuned to our channel for more updates and remember to smile even if you don't feel like it. Have a wonderful evening. See you next time. Goodbye.